Hey guys, how's it going? Comparing here. So as you guys have seen from my gaming setup video, I do know quite a lot when it comes to the computer parts, computer peripherals, and all that shit. And I feel it's my duty to inform you guys, give you guys an honest opinion of what is good, what is out there, because I'm not sponsored by any kind of company. I'm not making videos to push certain products so they can pay me later, and I can just say that this company makes the best shit every time, all the time, no questions asked, buy their product. So it's really kind of a void out there, I believe. Most people that do these kinds of reviews, release this kinds of information are not very impartial at all. They're very biased. So let's get to it here. When I worked as a computer technician, all I would do all the time at work is just, in my spare time, do some research on certain products, see exactly how they work, see exactly what the manufacturer puts into making a great product. And today I'm going to talk about keyboards. Now, keyboards are a very important part to gaming. You can use any keyboard you want for gaming, but the issue is that a lot of the really shitty keyboards, they have a limited number of keystrokes. So if you press if you press W to move forward, then you press A to move left, and then you push like 4 to switch your gun, and then you push like jump or something, so you push like 4 buttons at the same time. Sometimes some of those won't register. That's because those keyboards have like a limited number of inputs, and you will see that with the cheap office keyboard, the shitty ones. So, to begin with, if you have one of those keyboards, maybe you'd want to go and look into buying something else. But other than that, you should be happy with what you got. If your keyboard's working up for you, if it's good enough, it probably is. Getting a brand new keyboard, spending $100 for something is really not going to make your gaming experience that much better. But, if your keyboard breaks down, if your spare keyboard breaks down, if you have another computer and you want to move your keyboard, get another one, the next time you need a keyboard, maybe rewatch this video, get a few more tips, and see what you're going to buy then when you actually need one, rather than just upgrading for no particular reason. So when it comes to keyboard, there's this office crap. There's one step above where they have like these advertised keyboards. They're called like membrane keyboards, so they're just kind of like squishy. It just feels like mushy and stuff. And those are pretty much most of the non-mechanical keyboards on the market. That's practically like all the Logitech keyboards, like G15, all that stuff. But some of these keyboards are really good because they have a lot of the advanced macro features. So like the G15, for instance, this keyboard I used to use, a lot of people love this keyboard. The pressing of the keys is not particularly good, but because of all the macros and all the super buttons you can customize, great detail, it's a pretty solid keyboard, and you can make a lot of cool shit with the macros. I won't go too much into that, but you can do your own research and you'll see what you can come up with. So this is the membrane shit. There's also a certain type of keyboard that I know a lot of people really like, and it's actually not very well known. It's kind of like the laptop style keyboard, where the keyboard is very short. Like when you press the button, it's called the actuation, for the key to actually go through. So when you press the little key for the key to register in the computer, the distance that you press the key is very short, and it's like a very thin keyboard. It's kind of like a laptop keyboard, but laptop keyboards suck because usually they like cave in when you press the buttons. But there's desktop keyboards. I can't really come up with a name off the top of my head, but there are desktop keyboards that are like that. They don't actually cave in and shit. So a lot of people really like those because you don't have to move your fingers that far down. You can just do really quick typing sessions and really quick gaming sessions. But you have to keep in mind, because those keyboards are typically for office use, they may have the limited key numbers that you can press at the same time. So make sure you do your research before you end up buying one of those. Now, let's get into the good stuff, the mechanical keyboards. Personally, I use a SteelSeries 7G. It's a Cherry MX Black keyboard, as I've said in my gaming setup video. And some of you guys probably have no fucking clue what I'm talking about when I say that. So basically, this is how it works. In the computer part industry and anything really, what manufacturers do is they find people that make the best small parts, the best small components, and they put them together and they call it their own product. And that's pretty much true for every single mechanical keyboard on the market that I have seen. I think there's a few, I think I've seen like some Japanese keyboards or some shit that are not Cherry switches, but basically every mechanical keyboard out there that you're probably going to run into and look at and perhaps buy is going to use Cherry switches. So Cherry is a German company, and what they do is each individual key has like a switch. So it's, the key is not pressed, and then when you press it, you use the switch, and the switch tells the computer that you pressed that key and registers it. So that switch, the mechanical part of the switch for all mechanical keyboards, is made by this company called Cherry. So they have many different kinds of keys, and I'll show you guys here why I recommended the two that I did, and what you should be looking for, and why this is important. So over here I have charts. This is from EliteKeyboards.com. Elite Keyboards sells like the Philco keyboards and shit, and those are really sweet keyboards, but at the end of the day, they're all using the same MX switches. So what a manufacturer does is they just put all that shit together and call it their own, which often they do. The layout is a little bit different. Sometimes they have some macro keys which are really cool. Sometimes, it's just for comfort. But in the end, you're looking for the switches, you're looking for a good price, you're looking for a good warranty. The rest is kind of just fluffy shit that you shouldn't really care about. So let's get to it. So my keyboard has Cherry MX Black switch, and they have this chart over here, and I'll explain it for you guys. So there's the downstroke, so when you push the key down, it's constant. So the pressure opposing you pressing the key down is constant. So it's smooth. It goes down all the way, and then the upstroke, it goes back up all the way. And you can actually hear what this sounds like because I have one. So, see? You hear one click when it hits the bottom, and then it just goes back up, all in one. And these are pretty good because if you look at the actuation, when the key actually registers, it's halfway between the push. So you can actually press the key, you probably can't even hear that. And the key will actually go through, but you can't hear like any sound. And for me, I'm pretty used to doing that, so I don't usually make much noise when I'm typing on my keyboard, and I feel it's very smooth. And because the pressure that's coming back up when I press the key is always constant, the muscle memory, for me at least, goes through very quickly. I'm very aware when a key registers and when it doesn't. And I have this kind of like flow with this kind of keyboard that I really enjoy, that I feel a lot of people get into really quickly as opposed to the other types. Now when it comes to Cherry MX Red, it's the same thing. But the difference is that with Cherry MX Red, the pressure that pushes back on you pressing the button is actually lower. For me, it's not really that big of a deal because I've used this keyboard for so long, but for some people who are new to these kinds of keyboards, the Cherry MX Red is going to be very similar to the black in terms of how the pressure and how the actuation works, but the pressure that pushes upwards is going to be much smaller, so you won't have to use as much effort to press the keys down. This is kind of relevant because a lot of people who play video games, who do like these like 24-hour marathons, the rest of the week they're working at fucking Blockbuster or some shit, so they're not too used to going on a keyboard all day every day like I am, and they may have some kind of like joint pain, finger pain. So the Cherry MX Red, in my opinion, is the absolute best for gaming because of that fact. But you have to keep in mind, because if you get used to pressing the key and all that shit, it's fine, but a lot of people aren't really used to when the key actuates when they're using this kind of keyboard. So using the Cherry MX Black or the MX Red for typing purposes, if you're typing up like some Word document or some essay for your high school project or some shit, it's going to get really fucking annoying. So you have to keep that in mind as well. While these are very good gaming keyboards, if you're not really, really used to them, you're going to find it a pain in the fucking ass to type anything else in them. Now, there's two other colors for the switches that you should know about. There's the Cherry MX Brown. The Cherry MX Brown, a lot of people say is the quietest. So whenever you see a keyboard advertised as like, oh man, this is the best keyboard, fucking, Razer, whatever, keyboard, silent edition or some shit, I don't know. They're probably going to have like brown switches or blue switches, and this shit ain't silent at all most of the time. It's just a bunch of bullshit most of the time. And what the Cherry MX Brown is, it's not constant. So when you press the key and it comes back up, it's not a flow. It has like a click. It has like a notch. So when you press it, it goes click, and then you can press it further than that. And then when it goes back up, it does a click again. So it's click click whenever you press any key. It's the click click shit. And that shit annoys the shit out of me. And I think it's for a good reason, because it makes more noise, and it's good for typing because you hear the click click whenever you're fucking putting in a key, and you kind of need to know that when you're typing in very precise information, like words that you cannot misspell and all that stuff. So it's very good for typing. But when it comes to gaming, you hear this click click shit so much, it just gets to me. And the other thing is, because it's not a constant key, because when you when you're pushing the downstroke, as you can see by the graph, you feel the click as well. So the muscle memory is always going to tell you to go through that click, and what you're going to end up doing is you're almost always going to press the key down all the way. And you know, people that type a lot, they use the keyboard a lot, kind of like me, I'm going to tell you, like, you waste just a little bit more time pressing in the keys with a keyboard like this than you would with a Cherry MX Black or MX Red. So it's not quite as efficient when you need to be, you know, when you need to be gaming, when you need that APM action. It's not quite as good. Now when it comes to the blue keyboard, it's even worse because the click back up is even fucking louder because it does a bigger click up, and you know, all the actuation and stuff is kind of the same. As you can see by the graph, the downstroke, you have to you feel the click like right on the actuation. With the brown, it's a little bit before, so you get the bump and then it actuates with the brown. With the blue, the click is exactly when you actuate, and it's, I don't know, it's just kind of about the same thing. The brown is a little quieter, but not a lot, and I wouldn't really recommend either keyboard if you're going to go, you know, all out super gaming action. You know, they're good. Probably most people will prefer these to any kind of membrane keyboard, but if you want the best, I strongly recommend that you try the Cherry MX Red or a Cherry MX Black, and always disregard the manufacturer brand name, because most of the time you're just getting sold. So I hope you guys learned a few things. You know, now you guys are keyboard experts as well, and maybe the next time you need a keyboard, maybe a couple of years from now, you can take this information and buy exactly what you need. See you guys tomorrow.